Hello everyone, this side Amul Barnwal. I'm a founder and CEO of Clear Cloud, having 14 plus year of experience in IT, in which 12 plus year of experience in Salesforce. I'm a 10 times certified on Salesforce. I'm a Salesforce CPQ specialist. I have also launched my CPQ hours programs. Is a free learning programs. I'm running from October 2018, and I have around 2,000 plus subscriber in my YouTube channel. You can follow my YouTube channel to learn more on Salesforce CPQ. Today I am going to discuss about one of the best practices of a price rule. Let me navigate to my next slide deck. I have drafted one a use case scenario and how you can mute your a price rule, or similarly how you can mute your a price rule engine actually. So as we are aware about in Salesforce a business use case, whenever as a developer we write Apex triggers, we generally used to make them as a mutable actually. So what it happened is a configurable activity that every developer generally used to follow. So whenever any Apex trigger you wanted to switch off and switch on, we generally used to use a custom label or custom setting or custom metadata, right? So with help of those custom setting or custom label, we generally used to uh, use those variable in our Apex trigger to mute the logic actually. So whenever you are loading a data, so that those Apex trigger will not be executed or should not be executed. So based on company to company requirement or based on the company need, if you are loading a data that is not needed to be executed by your Apex trigger, or whenever you are loading anything related to your record in a Salesforce system, you do not want to make them alter by any one of your Apex trigger that you have defined on the object. Similarly, for Salesforce CPQ, you have a price rule that you wanted to mute before you load any data. So what it happened in Salesforce CPQ, whenever you are editing any line on a quote line item, let's suppose you are loading some data related to quote line item, what it does, Salesforce CPQ will automatically submit those price rule a callback or price rule batch job automatically in the system. Okay, so let me give you one good idea. If you see here, I have one quote of 1000. If I go and open my quote, if I go to the related item, I have this quote line item. So what it happened, if I update any one of these fields, let's suppose I am updating my product addition field called standard and hit save. The moment I hit save, what it does, Salesforce CPQ will automatically run this calculator in the behind in a batch job actually. Okay, so what it does, whatever the quote line that we have edited, one batch job will run, which is designed by Salesforce CPQ managed package. That batch job will automatically call all my price rule, which is going to be satisfied for this quote line or quote itself. In that scenario, whatever the price rule condition it get fulfilled, your price action will be executed. So that might cause your issue, or that might cause that might update your data information related to quote line or related to quote. Okay, this is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to like give us a scenario saying that in some use case you do not want to run those price rule. If you are loading a data into the system, you do not want to run a price rule and you wanted to make it mutable actually. Okay, so this is the one of the best practices Whenever you are writing any price rule in the Salesforce CPQ, you must to define as a mutable scenario so that those price rule will not be triggered if anyone is or if one of your Salesforce admin team is loading a data directly to the Salesforce CPQ. Okay, I'm moving to my next slide there where I will discuss about the requirement and the problem. Okay, I have a requirement in some scenarios. My company is over exhausted with the roll up summary field on the code. We wanted to create a new price rule to make a new roll up summary using a summary variable as per new roll up summary field required by my business. So as you are aware that with help of summary variable, we can create a price rule and we can achieve our requirement for the roll up summary field. As we are also aware that if you are creating any roll up summary field, you have limit in that object. So let's suppose you already reached to that limit for the roll up summary field on the code object. Now still you wanted to have those some roll up field down the line. In that scenario, if you are already over exhausted with your price with your roll up summary field, and again you wanted to create a new roll up summary field on the code object, so what is the next step? How you can achieve? You can achieve with help of new price rule definition. The moment you have defined a new price rule using a summary variable, you can achieve your roll-up job. Now, what is the problem if you are using a price rule for the roll-up? In this scenario, price rule roll-up summary will work for all new code or code which we perform edit line. Meaning that if I have created a price rule today on 15th April and any code which is going to be created after 15th April or on 15th April, those code and code line item roll up summary will work because we have set up a new price rule engine. But what it happened for the historical code and code line item? For all historical code and code line item will not see any roll up value and we need to perform a bulk update on the code and code line. But one important note in this scenario, if you update code line, CPQ price rule engine will invoke batch job to run all the price rule in the backend. That might cause a big issue. Unnecessarily update your code and code line information which you don't need, like discount or quantity, etc. Now, how to overcome with this problem? Let me navigate to the my next slide deck. How you can achieve this particular piece to mute your price rule whenever you are loading the data. We have very simple 3 steps. The first step to create a custom label and create a one formula. So this is what I have created one custom label called CPQ code data load enabled. Let me navigate to my Salesforce. Go back to the setup. Go to the custom label. Just give me a moment. I'm still searching. So what you have to do, you will have to create one custom label as similar to this one. I have created one custom label CPQ code data load enabled and put a value called true or false. So whenever you are loading a data into a CPQ code or code line item, you will have to just put a value as true, and then we have to use this condition in our price rule condition logic. Okay. After creating of this a label, now my next item is to create one data load flag on the code object. If I go to object manager and if I open a code object in my code, if I go to my field and relationship, I have created one field name called data load flag, which is a checkbox type. So you will have to create a field called data load flag, which is a data type called checkbox. Let me move to my next action item. Now my third step, I have to create a one formula on the code object name called switch off price rule. If I go to the field and relationship, and there is a formula field that I have created called switch off price rule. This switch off price rule will calculate or will see the label information if the value is true and the data load flag is true. In that both the scenarios, if this value is written true, in that scenario our price rule will not be triggered. Okay, so this formula, if you see, label.cpq code data is enabled, means I am enabling the custom label as a true, and the data flag, the data load flag, which is a code field, a checkbox, that I'm making a true. If those values, both the values are true, in that scenario, my switch off price rule flag, a field formula, will return a true value. Otherwise, it will return a false value. Let me navigate to my another slide there called use formula field in the CPQ price rule engine. If I go back to my all price rule, I have one of my price rule called set partner discount for software. This price rule I have created very before to my roll up summary price rule. If I go to my related item, in my related item I have price condition. So let's suppose if I am loading a data on my code line item, I do not want to run this price rule for those code for which we are loading a data or updating a code line item with help of data loader or manually. In the related price condition, you'll have to add one price condition called switch off price rule, the formula that we have created. So in this, I am using one object name called code, the tested object called code, and the test field is called switch off price rule. If my switch off price rule value is false, in that scenario, the price rule will run. Otherwise, this price rule should not run. Okay. So in that use case, the price rule will only run if my switch off price rule formula value will return false. If it is true, then this price rule will not run. Okay, so these are all only 4 steps. With help of these 4 steps, you can create a price rule as mutable. Okay, now moving to some practical exercise. Let me open one of my code. I am running 2 scenarios. One where I'm not enabling my flag call data load checked. I'm opening a quote number 2. Sorry, let me go back to my quote. Okay, I am opening a one existing quote call, quote 0, quote 9. Okay, in that scenario, if you see my data load flag is off. Okay, so what it happened in that use case, I wanted to run my price rule engine. Okay, now if I go to my related item, so let me tell you one thing. For my quote number 9, what is my price? If you see for a quote number 9, my net amount is $1,000. In my price rule, what I have written a logic saying that if my product code is quick heal, if my product is quick heal, give us a 10% partner discount. This partner discount called 10%. But what it happened, if I go to the quote 9, my net amount for the quote 9 is 1,000. In that quote 9, I'm using a product code called quick heal. If I manually edit, or if I manually editing with help of data load, let's suppose I am updating a product addition called standard and hit save. What it does, my code line item, the product code get matched with my price rule conditions, and it will start implementing a 10% partner discount. It will start applying a 10% partner discount. But even though what we are trying to do, we are trying to see if I did this standard addition, which I am updating a manual quote line item values, even though the price rule engine calls our CPQ package calculator job in the behind, and all price rule engine will automatically run. Why I am editing these product additions? Let me tell you. I am editing this price rule. I am editing this quote line item because I have just recently created one roll-up summary price rule. What is the purpose of this price rule? The purpose of this price rule is to calculate all the line and update my code field called roll-up summary count or standard product addition count. Okay, so this standard product addition count is using a one summary variable called standard addition count, meaning that if my product addition equals standard, take the count of that quantity and update in my field called standard product addition count on my code object. So this roll-up summary will automatically update my roll-up count on a standard product addition field. If I go and see to my code object, my standard product addition count is blank. Standard product addition count is 0. Now problem here is I have defined this price rule later to my code is created, but now I wanted to update this standard product addition count also. Okay, but how? What you have to do, you will have to update that quote line item manually so that those price rule should run and automatically update that roll up summary value on the quote field. Okay, if now I am going to my quote line item, in the line item, if I see my product addition pick list values is blank, that is why my calculation did not happen, because this is the new field that I introduced on the quote line item. But even though I wanted to see the product addition values and their count should be available on my quote field. So what I will do, I will update this product addition to standard and hit save. The moment you hit save, what it does, CPQ package will automatically run the job, calculator job, and it will automatically runs all the price rules which satisfy the criteria and update my roll-up summary values. Now, what it happened for the other price rule that you have already defined for the discounting? It will also run, of course. So in that scenario, your partner discount get also run because your price rule engine also satisfied that criteria. Okay. So what it happen, if you're doing an exercise of updating that quote line item manually, your price rule, other price rule also runs and your amount got changed. So that behavior you do not want, because the quote might you have already sent to the customer, or that quote might already in approval approved stage, right? So in that scenario, your net amount get automatically changed because you are editing your quote line item manually and populating that price addition to standard to calculate your roll up summary field. And you already have one price rule which is updating your partner discount to 10%. In that scenario, you do not want to run your price rule which you have defined for partner discount addition. So your partner discount price rule should not run if you wanted to edit the code line manually. How you can achieve? How you can switch off those price rule which should not trigger actually. Okay. So now I'm taking another example where you see this $900 get executed. Your non $900 you see the amount. Earlier it was 1,000 amount, right? This got changed just because of I haven't switched off my price rule for uh, uh, discount price rule or partner discount price rule. Now I will take this example call 007, which net amount is $1,000. In that scenario, I would like to calculate my roll up summary field, but I do not want to calculate my, I do not want to change my net amount. So what I will do in that scenario, I will mark that data load flag to on or off. Okay. If I switch off this data load flag, my price rule will run and automatically update my partner discount. But even though I wanted to have my price rule to do not trigger for partner discount, so I will mark data load flag to true. Now if I go to my related quote line item, in the line item, now let me populate my product addition to standard and hit save. Calculation get executed. If I go back to my code detail page, let me refresh this. You see my roll up summary got changed I'm getting my roll-up summary filled very accurately. Now let me see what happened for my quote number 7 for the net amount. Now I see my quote number 7 for the net amount is still 1000, which is expected behavior. I do not want to alter my quote net amount to something else, or I do not want to apply my partner discount of 10% because I am editing those line with help of manual edit or a data load edit. So in this way, you can see how I have used my custom label and the formula, and that conditions I have used in my price rule to switch off that price rule condition. Okay. So this is what our today's learning, our best practices, how you can switch off your price rule logic, or how you can make your price rule mutable. So follow your best practices to do not run unnecessarily your price rule if you are loading a data on a quote and quote line item. Hope you like my Sage CPQ Hours channel. Please subscribe my CPQ Hours channel and also share your feedback on my CPQ Hours YouTube channel, including also share my CPQ channel to your social media like LinkedIn and Twitter. I am also contactable on my mobile number and my email ID. Thanks for your support and help. Bye everyone.